Bonjour et bienvenue dans la chaîne. Je m'appelle Madhurika et je viens de Mumbai. Et aujourd'hui, je vais vous présenter comment j'ai passé l'examen de Delf. Today, I'll present to you how did I pass all the French Delf exams. So let's get started. So I've cleared A2, B1 and B2 level, and I'm soon going to appear for Delf C2 level. And from my years of experience, I want to share with you all the tips and tricks that you can use and get like 100% success in this Delf exam. And yes, it is difficult, but it is not something that you cannot do. It is doable, it is achievable, and here is how. So, firstly, why I took the exam. I always wanted an academic validation for this language, like a diploma where I can take this as a career ahead, which I eventually did. I now run a language learning company where we provide language courses, and in general it's a great option to French is a great option. Like giving Delf exam is like a very prestigious diploma that you get, which really expands your horizons, and I can promise you in that it really does. That's about me, and now let's just deep dive into what is the Delf exam consist of. So it consists of four modules, which is compréhension orale, compréhension écrite, production orale, production écrite, which is the listening and reading exam, and speaking and writing exam. So all of this, on all of these skills, you have been tested for 25 marks. Every module is of 25 marks, and in total you have to get 50 marks to actually pass the Delf exam and get this prestigious diploma de langue française. Cost like 8 to 10,000, so it's not at all economical. So when do you start preparing for the exam, or I can say when do you start preparing for this module? I always start like a month ago. Now don't get me wrong in this. Learning for a whole course, like for example, learning for a whole B1 level is different, and learning for an exam is different, okay? And these are the things that I would recommend you, or you can also follow, so that you can also pass and get great marks in Delf exam. First one, let's start with the difficult one, which is the listening exam, which is compréhension orale. Listening is difficult because you're not used to the French audio which is getting played. What I used to practice, and the only hack over here is to keep listening and keep listening so that your ears get used to it and you keep solving. The website that I would recommend is RFE. Podcast that I would recommend is 7 milliard de Vaza for B1 B2 level, and for A2 level you all can just stick to listening what's there in your book or the Delf Reuzi book, or even on the website which is called RFE. Just trust this website and you're good to go. And honestly, for me, I always turn French 1 month before my Delf exam. Like all that I'm listening is just the French songs, just the French audios, just what's there in your French book, everything French. Like I change my language completely, and that's what I would recommend you to do. Next one is compréhension écrite, which is your reading exam. So if you're good at reading and your speed is good at reading, then it's good for you that you can solve all this question. My pro tip over here is start reading newspaper, magazine, novels as well. Do not skip on the novels part, because we do feel that okay, we are just reading the books and that's enough, but that's little boring and you don't spend much time in that. But in this case, I would also suggest that please stick to one book in terms of vocabulary. Like, let me explain. So when you're reading, you can read magazine, newspapers, so that you're practicing on your reading speed, so that you're not spending like 5 minutes on one line when you can do it like in 1 minute, and that comes with practice. But in terms of vocabulary, if you want to learn vocabulary, for example, on the topics like santé, environnement, travail, vie quotidienne, stick to one book. So I can recommend you Saison, Cosmopolite, or Clay. these are the three books in which you can pick one of them or pick two of them if you have already done, and just do the vocab from that book itself. Do not hover around the internet and whenever you're reading, maybe you'll write down all the words from there. Like, it's good if you do it, but just stick to one book so your vocab, and you know like which vocab to use where. To practice for the Delf exams, you the book that I would highly recommend is Delf Reusir. It comes in Nivo, other Bedo, and this is your guide. Brings me to the next topic, with production écrite. Now, if you're looking for a format for production écrite, that is the writing one, and it is scoring because essay to write or a letter to write, there's already a given format for Delf exams. Like, there is introduction, then there's main body, which is of 3 para, and then there's conclusion. So this is the format. You stick to the formats and you get the points already. Then in that you add the phrases which is there. You start in certain phrases. You use the formule, the politesse, very important, super important. And in that you get the marks. Then you use the connector logique, that is ni ne moi, en effet, the plus, and all of this, so that you get the marks as well. You start with the connector logique, and the book that you can refer to stick to one thing which is important in your Delf exam is Delf Reuse Your book. I always use that, and it has worked for me and many others. So the more the formats you see, the more you'll get confused. And so just, you can maybe see all of it, but just make your own choice what works for you and just stick to that. Okay, and you'll find that in that book, because that is the book that will prepare you for your Delf exam. Next come the speaking exam. Now, all the other three modules you can kind of do by yourself, but speaking is something you need a tutor to. I always took a help of a teacher, or took like a prep course before the exam, so she could always correct with me, and or I could practice measure the role or my expose with them. So help of a tutor really helps in the speaking exam. And I think even writing, if you just write and give her to check. So this is something that I always use when it comes to speaking exam. Next, quick tips that I can give you for the speaking exam, this production oral, is avoid repetition of vocabulary, avoid just repetition of words, use different vocab, different words. Stop saying je pense que all the time. Now, I think je pense que is said by like everybody, so I dare you do not say that. Just say il me semble que, je trouve que, peut-être. Donc use the different phrases or different vocabulary which is not so common. These are some tips, tricks of all the 4 exams. I've made couple of other Delf videos, and I would like to make more as well. I'm not saying I'm any expert or I am an expert, but I think I'm getting there with these exams. The more you take the exam, the more you understand. If you have any more questions, just leave them down below. Again, I would highly recommend that get a help if you need one. Be patient with the exams. Start soon. The biggest hack of Delf exam is you follow the structure, follow the rule, and go by the Delf Reusir book. I'm keeping this short and simple. Bon chance pour toi. Good luck for your upcoming Delf exam. Let me know if you have cleared, or let me know if you're gonna appear. Let me know if you have any more questions, and thank you for watching. Merci beaucoup. Ciao.